I've made a severe
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja. Okay. Oi, how's it going? If you couldn't tell, I'm talking about Ninja Turtles. What happened there? My voice just fucking gave up on me mid-word. I'm probably gonna edit that out. Probably not. What am I talking about? Yeah, so we're talking about Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. It's doing good. I'm saying that like it's a person. It's not, it's a video game. Anyway, I liked the nostalgia in bringing back a game like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. I enjoyed it a lot. It brings back the arcade feel to home consoles and new generation consoles to kind of showcase what arcade gaming was like back in the day. And I thought it was a great success. I loved the game. I played it and it was very, 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 very good. But I didn't think it was all that in a bag of chips. I thought it could have been better. And today I'm going to kind of make some tweaks or improvements to the game to kind of envision what I would want it to be. So let's go. I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is an incredibly fun game. The rush of nostalgia was perfectly accomplished by solid game mechanics and a beautiful arcade art style. But for some reason it just wasn't enough for me. Technically it is for Ninja Turtles fans, but it wasn't catered towards the Ninja Turtles that I grew up on, and that's probably why I felt a little unsatisfied. The Turtles it touches on is the original animated series of 1987, with the iconic characters like Bebop, Rocksteady, Krang, Irma, and of course, all the characters that became main staples to the franchise. The plot is super simplistic, that being Bebop, Rocksteady, Krang, Shredder, and the Foot Clan have taken over the Statue of Liberty, and yes, the Statue of Liberty, not just New York, just the Statue of Liberty. And it's up to the Turtles, April, and Master Splinter, depending on who you choose, to stop them. Fun, good looking, and not too difficult, this game did a great job of bringing the arcade back to TV screens. But like I said before, it was missing a little something that would push me over the edge and say with confidence that this is the best Ninja Turtles game ever. But it never came, and I still have so much love for the TMNT game of 2003 on the GameCube and PS2. And it will remain as my favourite Ninja Turtles game. But I do think with a few simple implementations, Shredder's Revenge could have been greater than it already is. So here's what I would include to make Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge better. I just did the intro again, I don't know why. First off, I would incorporate different variations of the Turtles, kind of taking a trip through time, having each rendition of the Turtles being told through chapters. Chapter 1 being the Eastman and Laird's black and white version of the Turtles, having the art style being very shade heavy. Chapter 2 would be based on the game we were given, centered around the 1987 Turtles. Chapter 3 could be the 2003 animated series. Chapter 4, Turtles Fast Forward, which was carried on from the animated series from 2003, but it was so unrecognizable from what it was based off, so I'll make it a different chapter entirely. Chapter 5 is the 2012 Turtles, and Chapter 6 can be whatever the fuck they're airing nowadays. I think having these chapters will flush out the runtime, making it money well spent, and it will cater to all audiences, old and young, because Ninja Turtles has always been recognizable from past to present. It all depends on what rendition you grew up on. Chapter 1 will follow the blueprint of the Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics, like I said before, and you will be able to play as Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, Master Splinter, and April O'Neil. And this will mostly be constant for each chapter because I think all renditions of TMNT have these characters. The story will focus solely on Shredder and the Foot Clan, and their plans to take over New York. This campaign will be fairly simplistic by going through a handful of levels, defeating waves of Foot Ninja before versing the final boss, that being Shredder. These levels can vary to like the rooftops, a mole, the sewers obviously, and maybe Foot headquarters if it was invented back then. And obviously it will play the same because if I take too many elements away from the game or certain game mechanics out, it will derail the game and be a completely different game. I think having the story being simplistic will be a good introduction to the game, although the comic books have had so many stories and a lot of them are quite convoluted and rich in detail, but I feel like for newer audiences, a convoluted story with different villains will get them to kind of turn the other cheek because they wouldn't know any of the characters. In my opinion, this would probably be the best looking chapter, all being in black and white. It would kind of remind me of Mickey's Wild Adventure, if anyone played that game. In that game, you would go through all the history of Mickey Mouse and explore the different art styles of the character. It's a really cool game, and if you ever find a copy, give it a crack. But anyway, back to the game. I think the art style of the chapters will be vastly different, and I think it would be great from a visual standpoint. I'm not even really going to touch on Chapter 2 because it's literally just a copy and paste of the actual game. Moving on. This is the Turtles that I grew up on, and it's the 2003 animated series. This art style will have a healthy mix of the colourful art style of Chapter 2 and the heavy use of shadows in Chapter 1. This chapter's story will solely focus on, I don't know, maybe the first season, exploring the introduction of Baxter Stockman and the Mouser robots in Baxter Stockman's lab, then moving on to Casey Jones, which would be a cool level to take place on the streets and you can fight waves of purple dragons and then verse Casey Jones as a boss fight. From there you can go into the junkyard versus the nanobots, and finally the last few levels will be making your way up the tower of Foot headquarters, with the final boss being Shredder. Boom. Masterpiece right there. Fucking... Yo, whoever developed Shredder's Revenge, hit me up because I just made your game a lot better. I think the variety in the enemy types would also be kind of interesting. The purple dragons could deal more damage but move slower, and the foot ninjas could be faster but deal less damage just to switch things up. Chapter 4 will be based off Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fast Forward, and there is no April in this portion of the series. Instead, it's replaced by Cody, a massive downgrade, but whatever. So Cody will take April's place. The story will center around Darius Dunn and Torben, which makes more sense when tying in Cody as a playable character, and this will have the brightest color palette out of all the chapters. This is around the time where I stopped watching the show, so from here I'm going to be very vague because I know little to nothing about the remaining renditions that these chapters will be based off. I could have done research in the series, but why research videos when you can simply not? Chapter 5 is based off the Nickelodeon reboot, which has April in it again. Hooray. Can I get an F in the chat for Cody, the fucking loser? I would like this chapter to focus on Krang because I feel like he's a really underrated villain and gets overshadowed by Shredder. But in this rendition, the Turtles actually utilize Krang quite well, so I want Mr. Krang to be head baddie in this one. I just researched this series and Krang's name in this one is actually called Mr. Krang. Like, what? Like, has it always been that? Like, what the fuck? I don't really know what else to say about this chapter, and I have a hunch that the next chapter will be even shorter in duration. This is the last chapter, and also the chapter I know next to nothing about. I think it has John Cena and Seth Rogen in it or some shit. Like, I'm probably wrong, I don't know. The Rise of the Ninja Turtles is the series that this chapter will be focused on, and just looking at the art style, oh my god is it fucked. That being said, it is a different art style and will give the chapter a more distinct look. The main villain will be Baron Draxum, tough name my guy, Mega Chad right there, which I believe is played by the former WWE champ. And the look of the setting of the series looks really cold, but for some reason it has like neon elements in it. It kind of reminds me like Ben 10 Alien Force, so it would look pretty interesting in 8-bit. But yeah, that's all I got for this chapter. Moving on to some of like the unlockables and different features of the game that I'd like to see in it. I'd like to see unlockables for every chapter and like a hardcore mode once the chapter is completed. I'm thinking of character unlockables with unique movesets to provide some variety and replay value for each chapter. Fan favorites like Casey Jones, Han, Bishop, and whatever characters are in the new ones would be kind of cool. Once you've completed all the chapters, you can play as any character from any chapter when you replay the game. So if you wanted to play as Rise of the Ninja Turtles Raphael in the Eastman and Laird's chapter, go for it, my gamer. That's fucking... Oh, why'd I say that? To add another game mode for some variety, I think adding like a wave or horde mode would be kind of cool to see how long you can fend off waves of enemies. Also adding mini games would also be a neat inclusion, having like shell cycle vehicular combat sections or having a race section in the Turtles mobile, just for when you don't want to beat up anyone in the beat 'em up game.
Hey guys, it's me, Stan the fucking Man Lee. The audio sucks here, but I'm here to say that the video is over. Excelsior, or whatever the fuck I say.
That's it, video over.